And we are live and in living color following another edition of WWE Monday Night Raw. It's a Monday night live stream here in the J area, welcoming you to YouTube as well as welcoming you to another live stream here. Of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Monday Night Raw has just concluded, and so there's a few things that we have to discuss, not only in regards to what transpired on Monday Night Raw, but there's been a couple of newsworthy events that have taken place off of TV. Obviously, you see the title. Naomi, Karrion Kross, two very important names that I would like to discuss further in this live stream. But we're going to give people here an opportunity to join us in the stream, join us in the chat. And remember, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you will not be able to contribute to the discussion. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, join in on the chat, like the video, comment in the video. You guys know all the gimmicks. But with that being said, Monday Night Raw comes to a close with another repetitive end, if you ask me. We know about the story of Seth Rollins and the Vision, him being Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, the Oracle Paul Heyman, and their rise to the top of the card. Seth Rollins is now the world champion, but these last few episodes of Raw have become repetitive where the three of them are standing over everyone else. I mean, it's very reminiscent of what the Bloodline 2.0 had been doing. Obviously, the WWE has been in a power trip when it comes to its factions. But with big news, the main event was Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed versus CM Punk and LA Knight. A star-studded affair, if you ask me. A lot of star power here in this matchup. But of course, it would not go over cleanly. Seth Rollins intervenes, causes a DQ finish that protects everybody involved, and it leads to this big schmoz, having everybody that includes LA Knight, Punk, The Vision, Jey Uso, everyone coming together in this huge brawl. And then Adam Pearce comes out, makes the huge announcement that I'm a big fan of, a fatal four-way matchup scheduled for Clash in Paris that will see main event Jey Uso versus CM Punk versus LA Knight versus Seth Rollins for the World's Heavyweight Championship. I am looking forward to that matchup. Let me know in the chat if you guys are looking forward to that fatal four-way matchup. I'm a big fan of multi-person matches when you have the star power of those four individuals, and especially with the intersecting storylines between everybody. Seth Rollins has a legitimate beef with all of his challengers, and on top of that, the challengers kind of don't see eye to eye for obvious reasons. I know LA Knight and Punk had their little scuffle today. Obviously, Jey Uso has had his deals with LA Knight and the Bloodline, and then Punk has become a polarizing figure in all of WWE. A fatal four-way match scheduled for Clash in Paris is a matchup that I'm really looking forward to. It's a fresh take for this world title match. It also allows a little bit of leeway to those involved because it lets them take off a little bit of pressure on their shoulders. Instead of just a one-on-one matchup, we get four people involved to help carry the load. So I'm really looking forward to that matchup. Shout out to Gian Forever here. I says, good evening, brother. Good evening. Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you so much for the super chat, Gianna Forever, one of our loyal members here of the J area. A big supporter and nothing but love here on my end. I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. But Clash in Paris, a few matches have been made announced for the card. One that I want to discuss here. Because tonight, Monday Night Raw, we were supposed to have a women's world title matchup that did not take place as Naomi apparently has suffered an injury that will hold her out of action for some time. We don't have a timetable. As far as I know, as far as what I've seen online, of course, in the coming minutes and hours, maybe something has been posted. But as of this live, I have not seen a certain timetable, nor have I seen a specific injury for Naomi. So we don't know how long the world champion will be out. We know today it was supposed to be scheduled. Io Sky, who I think is probably one of the best, if not the best women's wrestler in the world, was supposed to challenge for that world championship. Did not get that opportunity again on account of this injury. So instead, Io has a matchup with Roxanne Perez, which is exactly what you would expect to be. A really good matchup between two of the best women in the division. But we have a backstage segment between Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky. And Stephanie talking to Io, reminding her, like, hey, you aren't the only one that was promised a world championship against Naomi. And without Naomi, with her out of commission, this begs the question, what will happen at Clash in Paris? Are we going to see that matchup take place? And Io was promised that matchup prior to Stephanie's big fight at Clash in Paris. If Naomi is not ready to go come August 31st, Paris, France, I think there's a legitimate possibility that we will see Io Sky versus Stephanie at Clash in Paris. And it will be essentially a number one contenders matchup because Io has her say in having a title matchup. Stephanie obviously won a battle royal at Evolution 2, so she has her say. But if we don't see anything from Naomi, I could definitely see this being a one-on-one matchup between Stephanie and Naomi and Stephanie and Io Sky, which I mean, we've already seen this matchup twice, but with both screwy finishes. To get a conclusive victor here would go a long way, especially with two talent like Stephanie and Io. If Io is the best woman in the roster, Stephanie is not that far behind. Certainly not that far behind. But again, we don't know the extent of Naomi's injury, nor do we know a timetable as to when she will return for her scheduled championship matches. Regardless, if that's the placeholder, Stephanie versus Io, that is not a bad match to fall back on without your world champion. And it's interesting to see where does Rhea fit in all of this, because we've seen cracks in the former members of Damage Control. Io, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. A little bit of beef there between Asuka and Io there for a moment. We're questioning who are her friends. And Rhea even mentioned that to Io, and Io can already see, like, hey, you're trying to break us apart. You can already see the writing on the wall. But I do think whoever it is, that matchup between Stephanie and Io, that'll probably crown your next number one contender to face off officially against Naomi for that World Championship. John in the chat says, is LA Knight a heel now? No, I did not get that impression during today's episode of Raw. To me, it's just LA Knight wants a world championship. Naturally, I feel like if you're in the business, if you're in the WWE, you want to be one of the top stars, and to be that, you got to be a world champion. That certainly is a prerequisite to being a major player on the main roster. He has a point. He understands that, hey, CM Punk, you were screwed at SummerSlam. You should be the world champion, but cash-in prevents that. But LA Knight did have a championship matchup on last episode of Monday Night Raw. That was ruined, essentially, by CM Punk as he interfered, causing a DQ finish, saving Seth Rollins, essentially. So if I'm LA Knight, yeah, I would be a little upset, too. Like, hey, you're in my business. You have all the right in the world to go after Seth Rollins for what he did to you at SummerSlam. But make sure you do it on your own time. Don't do it on mine. So LA Knight, yeah, absolutely. I would be upset too. And on top of that, he already had some growing tension between he and CM Punk. CM Punk spoke on his behalf. At the top of the show, we have a tag team matchup between the Braun versus Punk and LA Knight. LA Knight was getting to the point, but Punk cuts him off and says, enough talk, we accept, let's do the fight. And LA Knight was like, whoa, hey, you don't speak for me. And you saw that after the matchup too. LA Knight and CM Punk got in each other's face, led to a little shoving contest before finally the big blow off. Punk and LA Knight start exchanging blows. Jey Uso gets caught in the middle as well, so now we're introducing a little anarchy between the three challengers for Seth Rollins, adding more of an intrigue to that fatal four-way. Rather than a 3-on-1 affair, now it's certainly any man for himself. I don't think LA Knight's a heel. Could he be down the line? Certainly. I definitely think he'd be an entertaining heel. But as of right now, no. The only heel in that matchup is Seth Rollins. Jay, Punk, and LA Knight are all baby faces in that case. Jennifer says she's pregnant. Who? Naomi? No way. No way. I don't feel like they would say it was an injury if she was pregnant. And what timing, man? She just won the world title? Braun and Dom need to be a tag team. As a trio's not bad. I would not be against that. Now that's a heel team right there. And talk about the I was gonna say the bloodline, but not necessarily the bloodline. Just the heritage, right? I mean, the Steiners, the Guerreros / Mysterios, a lot of wrestling pedigree in that tag team. Gianna Forever says, I have my sources. Trust me. Hey, I won't question your sources, but I certainly would love to see more details about that if it's in fact true. I mean, you can't rule it out. Obviously, she does have a relationship with Jimmy Uso, but I don't know, man. It is a little interesting though that they said it was an injury, but we haven't, or even no. Technically, I think we assume it's an injury, but technically, the post and announcement said not medically cleared. So I don't even know if it was just an injury or we just assumed that. But the original post says not medically cleared. So hey, bookmark it. Put a little pin in that. Gianna Forever might be onto something. But I mean, hey, we got to wait and see, right? John says Rikishi wants some grandkids. Got to keep that bloodline growing, right? That bloodline never ends, man. I will say, though, when it comes to Naomi as the world champion, I'm a fan of Naomi. I think this heel turn has been great for her. Her return at the Royal Rumble in 2024 certainly was a benchmark moment, I think, for the division because of what Naomi had endured in 2022 when she was there during Vince's, creative. Having walked out of the company, going to TNA and being, Trinity, winning the TNA Knockouts champion and really putting herself out there as a major player, returning in 2024, having herself associated with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, the big three. I thought that was a great choice as well. But turning her heel certainly has added another level of depth to her character and added a more aggressive side to her wrestling style. Ever since she's turned heel, she's become more compelling, in my opinion, more entertaining, and you can see the change in her wrestling. Her winning the world title, great call. Doing it at Evolution, great call. If she is in fact injured or pregnant, which is now the theory being thrown out there, I mean, listen, the miracle of childbirth, could not be overstated. But the timing of it too, because it's like you just won the world title, the rocket is being strapped to you. We will see. We will see in the coming days, I would assume. We'll get some more information on what's going on there. But I think Bianca will get the world title somehow. Naomi might forfeit it or hold on to it till come back and become face again. I don't know. I don't think she'll give it to Bianca. I can't see it. Number one, I don't like when people are awarded championships like that. If you're going to be a champion, you have to win it. You have to earn it. And even then, the story between Bianca and Naomi, I don't think it's as simple of like, hey, here, I'm giving this title to you. I think Bianca has already decided she's not with Naomi. Naomi understands that, has a level of resentment towards her, feels that she has chosen Jade over her. I do think that maybe Bianca and Naomi battle over the title, in the coming future. But if Naomi is gone, she would definitely have to vacate it, and we'll see who's going to pick up the world title after that. Right? I don't see her giving it to Bianca, and I personally would not even turn her face. Not yet. Because I think the heel run is just beginning. There is still so much more to cover. And if she were to get injured or pregnant, whichever one it is, and come back, maybe the fans will turn her baby face. But I still think hold on to that heel run. I think that the division itself needs some strong heels. Because the only ones I can think of off the top of my head, you have Becky Lynch, who I think is a strong heel. You look at someone like Charlotte Flair. But even then, Charlotte's now a babyface, essentially, with Alexa Bliss. We don't have a lot of strong heels in the women's division. I think Naomi could be a big player in that regard. Real quick, we're going to segue here. Again, feel free to comment in the chat below. Keep the discussion going and ask questions, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'll be sure to get to them. But I do also want to discuss Karrion Kross, who apparently his, along with Scarlett's contract, have expired. The reports were that they were offered new contracts. They did not sign them, or maybe they just fell out of discussions in terms of the negotiations. But as of right now, if you look at the alumni page on WWE.com, it would say that Karrion Kross and Scarlett are no longer active members of the roster. As of right now, they are not associated with the WWE. But being that we are in this world of 2025 kayfabe, we saw what happened with Seth Rollins. Is Naomi actually out of action? Is Karrion Kross and Scarlett actually gone? It's one of those things where, hey, I'll believe it when I see it. And with Karrion Kross, there's so much. I see Gianna Forever says it's a work. We'll get to that, buddy. But it's like, if you've seen on YouTube, not too long after it was announced that Karrion and Scarlett were no longer with the WWE, they had uploaded another piece of the documentary that they have been working on YouTube. That is a hell of a time to upload that part of the documentary. Is it a work? I think there's a strong possibility. I think Karrion and Scarlett, if anybody is capable of pulling it off, I think it's Karrion and Scarlett. I think Karrion is one of those guys who is ahead of his own time. I feel like this guy is a creative mind. He has a great understanding for the business and has an organic connection with the audience, regardless of what people want to say, because I've seen segments of the internet who are very pro Karrion Kross. I'm pro Karrion Kross. I want everyone to succeed, especially those who have worked their tail off and have gotten to a point of their career where they should be given more opportunities. Now, I'm not saying he should be a world champion, but give him an opportunity in the main event scene. Have him, give him the tools he needs to excel. He's already over with the audience, but there are those members on the internet who claim that he's not good. These are probably the same people who tell you Jey Uso is not good. But rather than listen to the internet, I'm watching the shows. I'm listening to the audiences, the responses. Those guys organically get over. And it's more important, I think, to listen to the people in the audience, to the people who are paying the tickets to be there. Now, I will say today's episode of Raw, I was a little bit surprised here. Maybe I missed it. I did not hear any Karrion Kross chants. Maybe I missed it. But you would have thought, like what happened with R-Truth, could have been the same for Karrion Kross and have them come out and cheer for Kross. I didn't hear that. Maybe it's for the best that Karrion's not in the WWE. Have him go somewhere else, like TNA. I don't really see him in All Elite Wrestling, but I can certainly see him in TNA and become a big player there. And kind of climb back up and maybe eventually come back to the WWE. If this is to be believed that he's no longer with them, I think TNA is in his future. If it's a work, though, I gotta wait till I see it, because the whole R-Truth thing completely fell off the rails. Completely fell off the rails with that return. And now we're just back at square one. I love Truth. I'm glad he's back, but they didn't do anything with that whole haircut and reveal, Gianna Forever says, they never said they were leaving WWE in the documentary. This is all for footage for Unreal series on Netflix. Well, he said it himself that he didn't want to leave. If it was up to him, he would stay. He wants to be in the WWE. He wants to be there. I don't think it was footage for Unreal, because it seemed like very much Karrion Kross centered. We didn't see that in the WWE. And could they use it for season 2? Potentially. But apparently season 2 is going to come out around next year's WrestleMania. Karrion Kross is dead. He will return as Killer Kross and get that. I would hope so. I'm super down for that. Killer Kross coming back? I'm down for that. Absolutely. Robert in the chat, what's going on, buddy? Says, I don't believe anyone is injured anymore. Triple H, you made this. I think that's a good thing, though. I think that's a good thing, because now it allows us to really speculate about these injuries, about these releases or failed contract negotiations, because now we as fans can talk about it and be like, hey, is this real? It's a next level to that, kayfabe. Kayfabe's not entirely dead. There are still discussions and still debates that can be had about what is real, what is factual, and what is a work. Kiss Maya in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Says, hello. If the WWE wasn't in Canada, Sammy would have gotten booed. That's a good point. If they were not in Canada, maybe they would have chanted for Kross, but because they're in Canada, the home country of Sami Zayn, naturally they cheered him. Naturally. I mean, Sami Zayn, I feel like, is one of the best baby faces in the company. But if they were in, I don't know, say Philadelphia, maybe even in Vegas, maybe he would have gotten booed and we would have heard some Kross chants. He was in TNA. Yeah, that's right. Kross was in TNA for a bit. He was also in Lucha Underground. The White Rabbit. Gianna forever. But if you overdo it, it gets boring. Fair. That's fair. But I feel like that's why it allows us to suspend our disbelief, because obviously you don't want to overdo it, because like you said, it'll get old. But when done correctly, and when done infrequently, so not as frequent, it allows you to question what is real and what isn't. So the truth thing, I think R-Truth was actually released, and they brought him back. Seth Rollins, obviously, I don't think he was injured, and he came back. Gianna Forever says, I was at Raw at Barclays Center last week, and we were chanting, "We want Kross." Yeah. And they were chanting it at the post-show for SummerSlam. So there are portions of the audience that do chant for Kross. I just don't think I heard any today on Raw. Again, maybe I missed it, but I don't think I heard any. And maybe it was because it was a pro Sami Zayn crowd. Had it been anywhere else, maybe they would have chanted for Kross instead. But we did see some signs. I saw some signs saying "We want Kross," and Karrion Kross was trending. "We want Kross" was trending today again. So that there should be something said about that. That the audience, the arenas are chanting for Kross. We're seeing signs. He's trending worldwide, not just in the world of wrestling, not just in the world of sports, but trending worldwide. So there is something there. I think Karrion has all the tools. Maybe not as a WWE champion. I'm not saying he's going to win the world title, but I just want to see him as a major player. I would like to see him go up against guys like CM Punk, like Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. I know that feud already happened, but on another level. If he wouldn't have gotten pulled from Raw last week, we would have popped huge. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. The people want to be a part of something. It's the same thing why people in Kofi Mania, the rise of Daniel Bryan, the Yes Movement, Jeff Hardy in 2008, Cody and the Story, Jey Uso earlier this year. People want to be a part of something. Because when we feel like we're a part of a rise, we feel a sense of, I don't want to say ownership, but almost like a sense of responsibility, like, hey, we're helping this guy get over. He's earned it already. But they're hearing us. They're listening to us as an audience. And so it becomes a movement. People want, it's in our human nature to want to be involved, to be a part of something. And so whenever I see someone organically get over, like a Karrion Kross, and we don't see the WWE capitalize on it, I'm not saying have him win the world title, but throw the audience a bone here and show them like, hey, we hear you. And here's something. Have him get a big matchup, a big win, whatever the case may be. But they don't do that. They never did that with Kross. And it baffles me. I truly find it baffling that you don't listen to the audience. I don't know if Hunter did this on purpose or if he just misheard. But when the crowd at SummerSlam's post-show was chanting, "We want Kross," he proceeded to say, "Oh, you want Brock? Well, you got..." No one was talking about Brock. They were cheering for Kross. And they bring Brock back. Don't get me wrong, Brock Lesnar is an attraction. Whenever he decides to fight against Cena or whoever, I will be watching. But honestly, was anybody really asking for Brock Lesnar? Maybe I'm in the minority, but I've already seen enough. I would love to see him against Gunther, Braun Breaker, for sure, but it wouldn't be the end of the world for me if I didn't. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on that. Will the Savage, what's going on? How you doing, buddy? Robert says, so bottom line, the deal with what you hear, is there real heat with The Rock and everyone? That's a great question, man. I don't know if it's with everybody. But I look at it in the sense of patterns. Going back all the way to 2024. All the way, as if it was like a millennia ago. The build up to WrestleMania 20 and the pivot, where we saw that it was going to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock. The crowd was not in favor of it, and they changed the outcome, and we got Cody versus Roman, which was the right call, I think. But The Rock's issue is he comes back, and there are changes being made off of his own schedule. I love The Rock. The Rock is one of the wrestlers that got me in the business. Like, his charisma, his athleticism, The Rock is one of the key components as to why I became a fan. But The Rock in 2024 and 2025 causes a little bit of division. He helps the company, he helps, bring in the audience, but there are times where it's almost like they have to scramble and change creative because he's coming to town. And then we don't get a payoff. Bad Blood 2024, that ending should have been Punk versus McIntyre in the Hell in a Cell, but instead we got The Rock coming out after the main event, which was, the Bloodline versus Cody and Roman. For what? Because we still don't know what he did the countdown. We still don't know what that means. The Travis Scott stuff, we never got a payoff. So I feel like there is a little bit of heat there. I don't think it's like a major deal, but I do think there's a little bit of like looking at him a little crazy, like, hey, come on. We're working 365 days a year. You come in for a spot real quick and having to change everything. I'm not a fan of him. He's coming back with the bald head. I would hope so. Karrion Kross with a bald head. It took me a while to get used to the long hair. Sanford says the light fell off. No, it didn't. You're not going to get me. Nice try. Keep trying, buddy. Shout out to Tyler. I see you, buddy. Says, salute to you. I love your videos. Congratulations on your YouTube channel journey. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much for the support. It has been quite the journey these last couple years, really, with the channel. If you have been with us since the beginning, you would know that we originally were a sports channel, then we became entertainment, and then it became wrestling, the passion that I followed for the last quarter of a century. So I want to thank you guys as members of the J Area and, of course, our members of the Main Event Mafia. Thank you for creating this channel as to what it has become. Although, yes, I'm over here behind the scenes working on the content, trying my best to give you guys information in an informative and yet relaxed and chill environment. You guys are the ones that have dictated how we discuss wrestling, what we discuss on this channel. So without you guys, it certainly would not be what it is today. So all love and appreciation on my part. I look forward to what the future has in store for this channel, as well as what we all together have. So all love and appreciation. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Tyler. Good luck to you as well in your ventures. San Francisco Jose, you're about to hit 7,000. Are we going to celebrate with 7 chops or 7 suplexes? Can you even get me over for 7 suplexes, brother? I don't know if you can get me for 7 suplexes. 7 chops? I mean, you guys saw that. I don't know if you guys haven't seen it. It is a clip now, available on TikTok and on the shorts of San Fran giving me the chops. Those were legitimate chops. I don't know, but we are almost at 7,000, right around the corner. I think by the end of the week we can get there. And again, I cannot express my gratitude and appreciation any much more than I already have. You guys truly make this channel what it is today, and it would not be possible without you guys. Best of 7 series of us playing 2K? Hey, I'm down. It's been a minute since we've streamed 2K on the channel. Shout out to Sylvia in the chat. How are you doing, my friend? Hopefully you're doing well. It's been a minute since I've seen you. I'm in the chat, but love that I'm seeing you now. Thank you so much. And of course, my favorite emoji, the CM Punk finger pointing. Robert says, I know this is ridiculous. I like the beginning already. But there are rumors that Karrion Kross doesn't like taking bumps. I've seen that. So I think it was ahead of the Night of Champions matchup between him and Sami Zayn. People were saying this guy doesn't take back bumps. So when that was being thrown around there, I was like, okay, interesting. So when I watched their matchup at Night of Champions, I kept a close eye to see if he would take back bumps. And he did. I mean, to be fair, is anybody a fan of taking back bumps? Or just bumps in general? I don't think anybody is. It's a part of the business. It's a part of the show. It's a part of the match. But he does. Maybe he doesn't want to take it as much because he wants to look strong. Can't blame him there. But when you're being booked the way you're booked, you gotta take bumps. But yeah, I've seen rumors that he doesn't like taking bumps. I don't know if that's true or not. Sanford says instead of 3 stages of hell, it's 7. The best of 7 series. You know me, man. I'm down. I'm game. But what are your thoughts? Oh, you know what? Let's just throw it in the... Let's throw it in the poll. Let's throw it in the poll. Because I would love to see what is the general consensus here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it in the poll here in the chat. Go ahead and make sure you guys vote. Is Karrion Kross actually gone? You can vote yes, it's legit, or no, it's a work. Which one do you guys think? Because we've seen in the last couple of months how the WWE has managed to alter that sense of kayfabe. You know, especially with WWE Unreal, a lot of people are thinking that they're exposing the business. I don't think that way. I think in today's day and age of social media, it is inevitable for us to know things that we're not supposed to. Obviously, there are reports, there are rumors, there are interviews, there are podcasts. Naturally, we're going to be hearing things that maybe we shouldn't be. But I do think there are opportunities to maintain the illusion of kayfabe. Seth Rollins, I thought, was a perfect example because although there was portion of the audiences who said, no, he's really injured. And then the other portion that was like, well, I don't know. I think that is enough already to create intrigue. The fact that we had to question ourselves whether it was injury or not, that is enough for me to say, hey, wrestling's kayfabe is not entirely dead. Tyler says, I think it's a part of a storyline. I would love that. Again, because it's suspending our disbelief. It is forcing us to think otherwise. Sanfran says Kross has a YouTube channel. He does. And on that YouTube channel, I don't know if you checked it out yet. For those who haven't, Karrion Kross has been working on a documentary, a docuseries, kind of like a vlog, if you will. It was focusing on his run up to WrestleMania 40. The latest one had been uploaded a couple of days ago, or rather, I think yesterday, actually, where it was following the lead up to SummerSlam and just basically the lead up couple of days. So it does give a sense of like the Bret Hart documentary in 97, The Wrestling with Shadows, where it's timed around a specific event in time that makes you think, coincidence? I think not. Obviously, if you guys are historians like myself, Wrestling in the Shadows in 97 was following Bret Hart and having to take place around the same time of the Montreal Screwjob. So people think, hey, was the Screwjob a work? Because what a coincidence that they had a camera crew, a documentary being made around that time. You could argue the same thing here for Karrion Kross. He has a documentary working. He's released. The whole We Want Kross thing is building up. Who's to say it's not a storyline? In professional wrestling, of course, my favorite saying, never say never. So keep an eye on that. Right now in the chat, we have people voting. We have 10 votes already. 70% says, yes, it's legit. People in the chat are believing that Karrion Kross is gone. Meanwhile, we see 3 votes, 30%, saying, no, it's a work. That Karrion is not 100% gone. The thing with the WWE is sometimes they're not patient enough to let things sit. Look at CM Punk in 2011. When he had left the WWE with the championship, they gave him 8 days. Gone. And they brought him back quick. R-Truth was gone for what, maybe 4 or 5 days? They brought him back real quick. They don't know how to let something sit and make it feel like they're actually gone. So we'll have to see whether or not Karrion Kross makes an appearance. Would it be on Raw? Would it be on SmackDown? Would it be at AAA? Would it be at Clash in Paris? Who knows? If this is a legitimate work, who knows when he returns? But if he is not with the WWE anymore, I'd have to re-look at the regulations they have, obviously if they are released from their contract, there's a 90-day no-compete clause. But Karrion Kross and Scarlett allowed their contracts to expire. I don't remember, and maybe you guys can help me in the chat here. If they let that contract expired, do they still have to wait 90 days for that no-compete clause? Refresh my memory. Because if they do not have a 90-day clause, he could appear in AEW. He could appear in Total Nonstop Action. He could appear in CMLL, GCW, anywhere. But of course, that is all dependent on whether or not there is a 90-day clause after being, after letting his contract expire instead of being released. Tyler is saying lots of pro wrestling media outlets are reporting Kross is gone. And again, where there's smoke, there's fire. If there's many people who are saying that he's actually gone, then he's gone. But there's reports. I've seen a couple saying, hey, it's a work. But maybe they're grasping at straws. Robert also says, where is he going to go? Feud with Speedball Bailey in AEW. He has Andre the Giant in AEW. That's why I don't think he would go to AEW. Could he? Yes, he could. I think he's more fitted in TNA. I think TNA is a perfect match for Killer Kross. Their style, I think, is a little bit more closely to the WWE than AEW. Obviously, they have their partnership with NXT. I could see him already being a major player for the TNA World title. I could see him having matches against the likes of Moose. I can see him competing against the likes of Mike Santana, Joe Hendry, Trick Williams. And it also leaves the door open for potential WWE return, which is what he wants. He said he wants to be in the WWE. The guys he grew up watching made names for themselves in the Federation, so why wouldn't he want to leave that door open? I think it'd be, if he is gone from the WWE, I would think TNA is the move. Gianna Forever says, if their contracts expired, there was no 90-day clause. I had a feeling, but I wasn't sure. Obviously, if they're released, there is a 90-day clause. But I was like, I don't think that applies to an expiration of a contract. So thank you for the clarification. That is why we love this chat, because we keep each other informed. No 90-day clause, which means, again, if he is legitimately gone, he could show up in GCW or again, TNA in the next week, if that is what he wants. Maybe he takes a break and comes back whenever. Maybe he did not sign a contract because he wanted a fresh deal. Maybe he wanted a little bit more incentive. Maybe he wanted a longer contract with guaranteed money. Who knows? We obviously weren't in the negotiations, but I feel like with Karrion there is a method to the madness. Kiss My Ace says, all Triple H had to do was push Kross. Sami didn't need the win at all. I agree. Sami Zayn is a guy who I think did not really need the win. I feel like people still gravitate towards Sami, and they have that sense of compassion and empathy for him. We want to see him succeed. So if Kross beat him, it does more good for Kross than hurts Sami. I don't think Sami would have gotten hurt at all. I think, if anything, it helps him build up more empathy with the crowd, more investment from them as well. I think Kross should have gone over. But the fact that he did not go over and they had Sami win, that tells me they already knew. Because why would you have Kross go over if he was leaving or if his contract was expiring? If he had already signed a deal by then yeah, you could have put him over, but he didn't. And that's why they didn't have him go over, because they already knew that the contract was expiring. But I do think he should have. I would love to see Karrion Kross versus Obafemi. But he had to take some bumps. Gianna Forever, they basically get a conditional release, so they tack on a 90-day clause. Bringing out the knowledge. I love it. They should show Sami laid out in the back all bloody, and it leads up to Killer Kross returning. Mystery attacker. I'm not against that. I am not against that at all, because it makes sense. It adds this lore to like who attacked Sami. And as far as we know, Kross is gone. So who attacked Sami? And why is it such a vicious attack? Like you said, leave him bloody, leave him battered, leave him bruised. And it leads to the mystery of who attacked Sammy. Have Jey Uso get involved, because that's his oos. Have Punk get involved because they've had the interaction. Who attacked Sammy? Until eventually it's revealed that it's Killer Kross. And that is how you reveal that it's Killer Kross. And you do away without Karrion. And introduce him as Killer Kross. Shave his head again. Repackage him. Make him feel like a world beater. Make him feel like an actual threat to the company. That is how you would build it. Kross in Theory will be in a stable. Okay. I don't know about Theory. Does he have that kind of a mean streak in him? Because I look at Kross and I'm like, dude, this guy had the AOP. You know, who they look like a menacing threat. Would Theory seem like that? I don't know if Theory can come off as a. That's how you do it. That the connection's a little poor. We're giving it a second here to refresh. If you're still tuned in with us here, it is a Monday following Monday Night Raw, talking professional wrestling, talking Monday Night Raw, talking Karrion Kross, whether or not he's actually gone or not. We have a chat up here on the live stream asking you, members of the J area, now that Karrion Kross, apparently his contract has ended, is Kross actually gone? You can vote yes, it is legit, or no, it's a work. We have 80% of the audience here saying yes, he is legitimately gone. Trying to make sure and see if the connection here. On my end, it says it's a poor connection, but I'm seeing the playback and it's looking fine. Hopefully it's looking good for you guys as well. If not, bear with us. I keep trying to refresh the settings here on the channel, on the stream. Big week ahead of us. I feel like I say that every week. Big week ahead of us, but it's because there's wrestling every day. Wrestling's every day. In terms of major shows, we do have Triple Mania. Triple A's latest big event is going to be Saturday, I believe. Friday is TNA Emergence. Saturday is Triple A, Triple Mania, essentially their big show of the year. And we got some matches scheduled there. At TNA Emergence, it will be the TNA World Champion Trick Williams defending the title against Moose. And at Triple Mania, it'll be a fatal four-way matchup for the Mega World Championship, as El Hijo del Vikingo will be facing and defending that very same title against three challengers, Dragon Lee, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and El Grande Americano. A fatal four that I'm looking forward to. All four men can go. Give these guys enough time and it'll deliver. Triple Mania, I will be watching that. I'm thinking about not changing, but I'm thinking about going live following Triple Mania and giving a live reaction and recap to the show as well. You know, the next time we will go live will be on Thursday. We'll talk about the latest headlines in professional wrestling, whether it is the WWE, whether it is AEW, TNA, you name it, we got it here in the J area. Of course, another opportunity to join in the discussion. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot join in on the discussion if you are not subscribed. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, voice your opinions, give your shout outs, ask your questions, and include yourself in the live streams we do on Monday and Thursday, as well as after every major PLE premium live event, pay-per-view. We try to keep you guys in the loop. It's a busy and hectic schedule in the world, not only of wrestling, but in the world in general, because I know, we all got our own stuff going in our lives, whether it is work, whether it is family business, whether it is relationships, whether it is any commitment that you have in the real world. There's a lot going on, but it's up to me. It's my burden to bear to keep up with everything pro wrestling related, to keep you guys in the know. That way, when we join in for these live streams, we can have the discussion. We can have these debates. We can ask the questions that we want answers to and not feel like we're out of the loop. Because when you join the J area, you're a part of the family at this point. Love having the discussions with you guys. If I may not have an answer, one, I will look for the answer. Or two, I can rely on my good friends like Gianna Forever here who helped me out with the 90-day clause to help me find those answers. So major shout out to you guys. Again, we'll be going live again on Thursday. And next week, well, this weekend, Triple Mania will take place. And I'll go live after that as well. If you guys haven't checked out the latest video on the channel last week, last week, uploaded a video about John Cena, about the heel turn, whether or not it was a failed attempt at turning John Cena heel. In retrospect, I think now with 2020 being hindsight, maybe they should have not, maybe they shouldn't have turned him heel. Or maybe they just did it wrong. So you guys let me know. Was the John Cena heel turn experiment a failure? You can comment down below here on this video, or please check out last week's video where I discuss the severity of John Cena's heel turn and how it did not pan out, at least the way I would have liked. Go ahead and watch that video after the live stream, of course. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe, obviously, to keep up with more wrestling content. I see you, Robert. Robert says, I did call Cody versus Drew. Yes, you did, my friend. Yes, you did. And I think it was a great call. Not only by you, but by the powers that be in the WWE. Because Drew and Cody have a story there already made. Drew McIntyre was the chosen one way back when. Cody was not. He was a part of Legacy, having to climb the ranks. Got stuck with the Stardust gimmick. Meanwhile, you had Drew McIntyre, who was a part of a certain band with 3 members in it. They were tag team champions at one point, and they both left the company and became bigger stars. Drew McIntyre could have been the next star, could have been the next face of the company. However, it happened during the pandemic and in front of nobody. He won the WWE title at WrestleMania 36, again, in front of nobody. Cody, on the other hand, at WrestleMania 40, had the culmination of his story. You can already tell a story between these two of envy that Drew was saying, or Drew could be saying, that should be me. That should be me. That Drew McIntyre had to bust his ass for years without having a famous last name. He didn't have to rely on a Hall of Fame dad, a legend for a brother. That he did it on his own accord. That he had to scratch and claw to the very top. And when he got there, there was no one waiting for him. But now, because there's fans who chant for Cody and they feel like Cody's their guy and they can voice their support and they can feel like they're a part of his story, that he's the guy, that he should be the quarterback. No, not in Drew McIntyre's eyes. For Drew McIntyre, this is not about being the quarterback. This is not about being the face of the company. This is not about being the heir to Cena's throne. For McIntyre, it is just to prove that he was always the chosen one, that he is that damn good. So I am excited to see what will transpire between Cody and Drew. And the promos, man, I mean, you could see his promo work. Drew with Punk was awesome. Him against Cody, I expect nothing less. And the matchup itself, again, give these guys time, they'll deliver. They'll deliver. Great call there by Robert. Great call by the creative. Kiss My Ace says, I'm surprised that we're getting so many weeks ending where the heels end the show. Also says Cody died from that Claymore. Well, I mean, that's how you build heat, brother. You see the heels go over. You want to see the babyfaces get retaliation. You want to see them overcome. I just don't like when it's repetitive. Drew standing tall over Cody, that's something new. But when you have the Vision, the Braun connection and Seth Rollins standing tall again, it can get repetitive after a while. But that's how it is. The heels go over. At least they stand tall, giving the babyface something to overcome, an obstacle that lies in their way, so that they can overcome it. Or will they? Will they overcome it? But that's why we stay tuned. That's why we watch the show. And speaking of watching, let's look at the numbers here for the poll. We asked the J area, is Karrion Kross actually gone? We have 31 votes in. 77% say, yes, he's gone. It is legit. Meanwhile, we have 23% Michael Jordan saying, no, it's a work. Very heavily in favor of, yes, it's legit. But again, never say never. We have to keep watching. 78% now. Another vote for yes, it's legit. I'm of the mindset where I believe it when I see it. Truthfully, I think he's gone. But I would be lying to you if I said I didn't have an ounce of doubt. I just think it's so fascinating that the documentary was released hours after he was released. Or, sorry, the contract expired. I don't know. I believe when I see it. Robert back in the chat says, lastly, have you seen anyone as good as natural, just awesome as Logan Paul in his short time? Now, I'm not saying these guys are on the same level. I'm not saying that. But I feel like the last time we saw someone really get a grasp of wrestling the way he has, could you say Kurt Angle? Because Kurt Angle, man, this guy took to wrestling so easy. Great on the microphone, had the heel personality. His athletic ability was in no doubt. But I just don't know if that's a fair comparison because he's an Olympic gold medalist. He's a machine. He's a freak. And now Logan Paul, he's athletic, but he's not Kurt Angle. So I don't know if that's a fair comparison. Could you say The Rock? The Rock, I think, really took to it pretty quickly. He was just saddled with a bad gimmick. Ronda Rousey, I think, took to it pretty quickly. Now, during her tenure, it kind of got derailed. But I do think that, yes, there are people there. I think for someone like Logan Paul, because, okay, keep in mind, Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist. The Rock, football player. Ronda Rousey, UFC superstar. Logan Paul was not a part of any sports. He is a social media influencer. He is on YouTube. He was on Vine. So he was not a mixed martial artist. He was not a collegiate athlete. So for someone like him, a complete outsider, a literal influencer, for him to come into the WWE and succeed to this level, to this magnitude, I applaud him. I give him all the credit in the world. Prior to the WWE, he maintained a reputation that was of negative connotation because of his attitude, because of his choices, because of his personality, online and behind the scenes. Not favorable. Not favorable at all. But you see the work that he's putting in. Again, both on camera, behind the scenes, and certainly mic work. He has impressed me. I would not be surprised if they gave him a world title, because I think he's done that well. Me personally, I don't think I would do that, but I would not be surprised. Athletically, he's smooth. Selling is good. He's a phenomenal heel. Do not turn him babyface. Give Logan Paul his credit. And he's been doing it on a regular basis. He could easily have done a part-time schedule, but this guy, maybe not a full-time, but it's more regular than guys like Roman Reigns. Give him his credit too, because Roman Reigns, he's great. He's at this point in his career where he doesn't have to show up every week. But Logan Paul, give him his credit. Great call out there by Robert. Appreciate the comment. Muhammad's in the chat. What's going on? Muhammad says, hi, happy Monday. Hope you're doing well. I hope the same for you, my friend. We're glad to see you here on another edition of the J Area Wrestling Show following Monday Night Raw. Heading into another week of wrestling as we approach TNA Emergence and Triple A's Triple Mania. Go ahead and voice your guys' thoughts and opinions on both shows, whether it's Monday Night Raw or the two events that await us at the end of the week. We'll begin to start closing down the stream here in a bit, I want to give people an opportunity to ask any final questions, share any final thoughts as we approach the end of the hour here on the J Area Wrestling Show. Again, go back to the stream here. We have a poll in line for members of the J Area to voice their opinions. Karrion Kross, his contract has expired, him along with Scarlett. Is it actually for real? Is he actually gone? 76% say yes, 24% say no. The ratio is 3-1. I hate 3-1 as a Warriors fan. If you know, you know. But again, hey, as we begin to unwind and as we begin to close up shop here, I want to thank you guys again for joining us here on another live stream. It's always a genuine pleasure to talk to you guys about wrestling, to talk about wrestling, whether it is on Monday Night Raw, whether it is the news that is out there, any questions and comments of such. Always genuine pleasure to include you guys in it. I've talked about it ad nauseum. I've talked about it before, where it's like, before venturing out here on YouTube, the only one I really got to talk wrestling with was my brother. And as we gotten older, we both have our own interests, we both have our own work schedules, and we have our own lives. And I do not want to bug him 24/7 about the wacky world of wrestling, even though it is something we have always bonded over. So to have this outlet and opportunity to share my thoughts, opinions, and hear other people's thoughts and opinions on such a worldwide scale, it has been a blessing. It has been a tremendous honor and a privilege. I do not take it for granted. I do not take any of you guys for granted. And I thank you and appreciate you all for the support. If you enjoy these videos, please go ahead and like them, comment down below any questions or comments. I try to get to all of them. If you are a member of the Main Event Mafia, your name does get highlighted, and I can see you guys as a first priority in the replies. And hey, consider subscribing. Join in on the conversation. You can only join in on the live streams if you are subscribed to the channel. And consider becoming a member of the Main Event Mafia, where you get exclusive content like pictures, posts, polls, and exclusive videos. I'm doing monthly reaction videos to certain matches in wrestling history, whether it's WWE, AEW, or TNA. Last month, we had rewatched the Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels match at SummerSlam 2005. At the end of the month, there will be another video uploaded for our members of the Main Event Mafia. So Robert says, peace, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for stopping by and enjoying this live with me. Again, feel free to support the channel by subscribing, by joining the Main Event Mafia. Any form of support is welcomed. It allows the algorithm, it allows the powers that be here at YouTube to see, like, hey, there is a genuine interest in this channel. And if there's more people watching the channel, there are more people invested in pro wrestling. And I think the more people that are invested in wrestling, the better. I truly believe it is the greatest form of entertainment because it encompasses so many different aspects of entertainment. You have the athleticism that you can find in sports. It is in wrestling. You can have drama, suspense, and storytelling that you can find in a movie, in a television series. It is in wrestling. You can have the silliness and the comedic moments that you would find on your favorite sitcoms. It's in wrestling. And even that, the audience participation, the music, the entrances, the performances. It's like a literal rock concert, all in professional wrestling. Yes, we love the matches, but I think the moments are just important. So whenever you could have a moment to catch lightning in a bottle and bring you back to a time when you were a fan, whether it is whether it is as a 5-year-old or a 50-year-old, if you can go back and remember a moment that gave you chills and reminds you why it is we watch professional wrestling, that is what it's all about. In a word, connection. Connection. You can connect to a story. You can connect to a wrestler. You can connect to a moment in time, and that is why we keep coming back to this crazy thing called professional wrestling. I love each of you guys. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us here in the J area to talk about professional wrestling, to talk about the WWE, any promotion, whether it is North American or not. I don't care. Pro wrestling to me is my love language. I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Make sure you like the video, subscribe again to stay a part of the discussion. Of course, with that being said, we will go live Thursday again here on another edition of the J Area Wrestling Show. My name has been and will forever be Jose Ramos Jr. Everyone have a great night. Enjoy your weekend and your week as it's just starting for some of us. But with that being said, everyone take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.